was invited here today to talk, I mentioned it a little bit, but talk on smart services with High Point Networks, a little bit about what those are, how we can potentially help you solve some of your operational challenges that you may see on a day-to-day within your bank IT teams. And so yeah, with that being said, we will kick off and get right into it. So when it comes to operational challenges, again, more specifically like your bank IT teams, we've noticed from a lot of our existing banking customers what you all are challenged with day to day. And so I wanted to talk, luckily IBA invited me here today to talk to you a little bit more about that. So both from an industry perspective, so both from like that financial industry, but also just with the understanding that you all have unique needs too. So not every IT team has the same needs. And again, we get from not being, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but we are very much so not a traditional MSP. And so we get that not one size fits all, and we operate a little bit in a different model that I'll talk about. But first, talking about these operational challenges. So top 5 that we kind of see on a day-to-day, hear from you guys on a day-to-day. Of course, you guys are a main target for cybersecurity threats. You deal with a lot of compliance pressure. There's a deep need there to, have a need for specialization, whether that be in the security space or in the firewall space or network space. Resource and talent constraints, probably not just limited to your industry, but I think a lot of IT teams are seeing that today of just, the talent is limited, and when the talent is there, the price tag is high for that talent. And then, of course, you guys are dealing with potential legacy infrastructure or just like modern demands. Like you are constantly pressured with update the mobile app and get our core banking systems more up to date. The demands for your guys' teams are higher than ever. So as we kind of introduce what smart services is here, again, I like to picture it more as like specialized help. Plug us in where you need us, don't where you don't. But it helps you not have to add headcount, and think of us more so helping to augment your team. We're an extension to your team. We're not a replacement of your IT team. So with that being said, I wanted to do a couple quick comparisons of smart services compared to like a traditional MSP. But first, just giving a little bit of background on that. So we rebranded to Smart a few years ago for the reason that a lot of people would tense up when we would mention the words managed service provider. And we knew that our customers didn't get those same feelings once they had gotten to experience our offerings. So it was a main goal and kind of top of mind for us is how can we have these conversations with new IT teams like yourself or potential partners down the road where the conversations didn't have to start off with negative feelings towards us as an MSP, so that we had that chance to offer you the difference in our offerings, and you would get to experience that the same way that our current customers do. So again, hence the name change. It's a little spin on managed services provider, but smart services, again, just for that reason that I described. But yeah, we do things differently. So I just wanted to, let's put this on display a little bit and just talk through those things. You're going to see my fancy little orange stars there. I just wanted to highlight top 5 like MSP complaints that we see out in the wild through our market research or whatever it is when we have our ears to the ground. This is what we hear. Some sources at the bottom in case you're interested from where specifically I pulled this from. But again, first complaint, traditional MSP is generic one size fits all model. Our model, very a la carte. Again, some of your IT teams may need to plug us in the firewall space. Other of your teams may need to plug us into the network space or the endpoint protection space. Your needs are all different. And so although we are all falling in one industry and we face some of those, same potential challenges, again, you guys all have unique needs. Again, and common complaint with MSP is slow response time. With us, you're getting assigned ticket resources within 9 minutes. So there's at least that kickback of acknowledgement of that we have received you, we've seen your request, and that someone's working on it. So super nice to have that peace of mind. Nickel and diming with the traditional MSP, hidden fees. Well, I didn't know that this was going to be billable, and why are you charging me T&M for that? And there's just a lot of debate over that. Again, with High Point, predictable pricing, clearly defined statement of work. We provide you that defined statement of work up front before you sign anything so that you know exactly what's covered, what's not covered. You get to ask questions on the front end. Total visibility, lots of transparency. It's just something that we pride ourselves. All right. Third one, lack of support, strategic. I italicized that one. Strategic guidance is often a big complaint. Our engineers, I feel so thankful to work at High Point. We hire only tier 2 and above, so tier 2, tier 3 and above engineers at High Point. So when you call in, you're truly getting an expert. They are trained to consult. They're trained to be strategic. So what does your firewall environment look like 2-3 years down the road? Can we co-term security services on, your firewalls because you have multiple branch locations? Whatever that looks like, they are trained to truly be a partner to you and be strategic. And then finally, that fifth one, I know there's other differences in there, but I'll let you kind of just read those on your own. Poor communication or tech speak. I feel like we've all been in those conversations. I know I have, where, you're talking to others and it's like tech speak overload, using acronyms. I have no idea what you mean. And can you explain this in a different way? Again, our engineers, extensive experience, clearly communicating deliverables, acronyms, any questions you may have, all the way from a high level to a very detailed level as well. So as we get into smart services and just some of the advantages that, we hope you'll feel if you ever sign up for a smart service offering with us, again, that predictable pricing model. So plug us in where you need us. It's definitely not like this all encompassing. You have to have all or nothing with us. You truly can have one service. You can have 8 services. It does not matter. We also want to allow you to focus back on your core objectives. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier, maybe you're updating an app, maybe you're focused on modernizing some of your banking systems, new digital banking products. You guys have your hands full. I'm sure it changes day to day what you're working on. So, again, our focus is how can we augment you and focus on where we specialize and allow you to kind of get back to those internal IT projects the best that you're able to. Full access to HPN. Again, I know I said it before, but thankful to have the support team that we do at High Point. We have over 100 engineers in-house. So although we have our smart engineers and we have our smart team, is what we call it, we also have 100 other engineers with a very deep resource pool that we can pull from in the event that we need to brainstorm or do certain things. So it's not very often that we don't have an answer for you in-house. I will just say that. Very deep resource pool. So again, with that, no delayed escalations. I'm not sure if you've used an MSP before, but you've probably experienced delayed escalations or things to a vendor partner and you're waiting days for an answer. Not here. Like I said, we either solve it in-house, or in the event that we do need to escalate something to our vendor partner, what's really cool is that you can kind of leverage us for our support for that. We're not a number in a queue with our vendor partners, so we get answers really quick, and we love being able to have our customers leverage us for that quick turnaround and to get answers quick. For increased security, again, top of mind, of course, for you, especially the industry that you're in. Something that our customers like, again, just like a little bit of weight lifted off our shoulders of just like peace of mind that you can trust that our security engineers have our ears to the ground and that we're aware of the latest, 0 days and latest patches that need to take place. When you're kind of, depending on your role in your organization, when you're a jack of all trades, very stressful to be able to do all of the things. Again, where we can come alongside you and kind of take that weight off your shoulders, something that we love to do for you. So, and finally, enhance, not replace. I'll just say it right up front. Our ideal fit is those IT teams that we get to work alongside. So again, goal is to enhance your team, not replace it. So maybe you've had difficulty hiring a network engineer, or maybe you've want deeper security expertise that is not deep as today as what you would like it, or wants a little bit of compliance guidance. How can we take some steps towards this compliance? How can I solve these certain things? Again, plug us in for peace of mind and we can come alongside you and assist where needed. So I'm going to take a brief pause. These are just some of the major pillars. So security, data center, network, communications, some IT management. In case you want a screenshot, you're more than welcome to kind of screenshot this slide. But these are kind of all of our offerings that fall. As you can see, we have quite a few. There's more outside of this, but again, these are the major ones, without completely bombarding the slide. So feel free to screenshot it if you'd like. And we'll kind of get into just high level overview what each one of these looks like and kind of some deliverables from each. I'll pause now though, in case there's any questions up until this point on just a little bit about smart services and who High Point Networks is. All right, we're going to keep moving then. So first pillar, smart network. Two smart offerings that fall under this pillar: network and firewall, wired and wireless. So again, management of APs, controllers, switches, routers, firewall. Again, I have in parentheses right there non-Fortinet, because you can see on our smart firewall solution, we lead with Fortinet as our vendor partner on the back end. But again, if you had non-Fortinet, we could potentially put that into our smart network offering or solution. Two big partners on the network side when it comes to management of those devices, Aruba and Extreme. We also have a bring your own vendor. So let's say that your vendor falls outside of those two, happy to consult with you and see if that's something that we can still work with and still offer those same deliverables with. So you can see kind of those key deliverables right there at the bottom of that smart network part. On the firewall side, first line of defense, security services come included with our smart offering, and so does the hardware. But there is also, like I mentioned, a BYOD option in the event where, like, let's say you have multiple branch options and security services are kind of all over the place. Happy to work with you on a potential BYOD option, or figure out with you, how can we consult and kind of get some of these security services on the back end co-termed and maybe line up to a single end date. So it's just a little bit easier to track and kind of manage on the back end. Did want to mention on this network slide before I kind of continue, we have one more offering that's launching soon, just in case it piques your interest. We have a smart SSE offering that's going to be coming soon. If you have questions at the end, you can pick Dan Hammer's brain. He's leading the charge on this new solution, but again, a full VPN replacement. So if you want to be notified when this is launched, go ahead, and if you're comfortable, stick your email in the chat or email me at the end. My email will be at the end of the presentation, and we can notify you when that's launched. But yeah, that piques your interest at all, just let us know. Moving into the next pillar, so smart data center. So we'll start with backup. Obviously, backing up our data. We all know it's important. Even if you have a strategy in place, and let's say you just want a second set of eyes or consultation on what that backup strategy looks like, just let us know. But again, just asking the question, regularly testing your backups, how often? When we talk to a lot of IT teams, this could be something that kind of falls off, or maybe a backup failed last week, but we didn't catch it until now. Is the alerting set up correctly? How quickly can you recover your data? Does it meet like your RTO requirements? Again, when we onboard you, all of these are very basic things that we cover right away, of like, what do your RTO requirements look like, and what does that time like? I stuck go down there at the bottom of the backup paragraph just because I just wanted you to know, in case you are, let's say, looking for a temperature check, maybe you're using Veeam storage, Veeam licenses today, and you're not quite sure if you want the management yet. Again, something available through High Point, we can sell you both of those. So if you want a temperature check just to figure out, with where am I falling pricing wise with my existing partner, or what that looks like today, happy to get you a competitive quote, or happy to, help give you a temperature check on that piece. So second one, business continuity. It is a bolt-on for smart backup. So smart backups required in order to kind of get to that next step. But again, just all about how is your business continuing operations. So backups essential, of course, but they're just that first kind of step with business continuity. Can you recover your data quickly, and can you return to operations as quickly as possible? Just kind of minimizing that downtime. All right, still in smart data center, the actual data center offering, totally self-explanatory on that side. But again, are you monitoring, managing your servers, things of that nature? And then similar offering to the smart backup that we saw on the previous slide, but our disaster recovery and backup. I say similar because it's an either or offering. Like, you would never have smart backup and then also smart disaster recovery and backup. You would have one or the other. Of course, you would meet with our engineers. They would do discovery, and they would kind of send you down the path that was best fit. Typically, we see more complex environments kind of go down the smart backup and business continuity side of things, where maybe more simplistic environments would go down the disaster recovery and backup solution side of things. One more smart data center, and then I promise you I'm going to get off the backup trend here because I know I've talked about a backup for a couple minutes now. But one that's not very obvious that I love to talk to customers about just to make sure that they're protected. Or if you've ever needed, let's say, M365 user, you needed something from them, they're no longer active. But I like to bring up that Microsoft isn't responsible for your data in the case of an outage. And I like to just make sure that everybody knows that. Explaining that a little bit farther. So Microsoft operates on something called a shared responsibility model, meaning that they will maintain their infrastructure, but recovering like your company data is completely your responsibility in the event that they have an outage and lose some of your data. So again, Smart M365 Backup, I call it a very affordable offering that just makes sense. Recovering when it comes to, OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, just a little bit more of a peace of mind knowing that when it comes to that M365 environment, you have backup of that data. So not something that's always top of mind for a lot of our customers, but once we start to talk about it, a lot of our customers aren't aware of that shared responsibility model with Microsoft, and so I just like to make you aware of that. Moving into our voice pillar or our communications pillar, maybe phone systems outdated, or if you're experiencing a lot of like frequently call drops during peak hours, or when call volumes spike during mortgage season and you're having, maybe your CSAT score is suffering, just making sure that you have a phone system in place where that customer experience doesn't suffer. We have a couple offerings in the voice space when it comes to like managed. And again, managed voice is something that we have found a lot of customers, not just in the banking industry, customers all across industries are like, if they can offload the management of their phone system, they are more than willing to do it, and hand it off. So I just like to make sure that you know it's available to you, but that Voice 360 is on the UC side or the Unified Communication side, CX Vision contact center side, and they both complement each other. So you've got offerings in both of those. So a couple offerings at your fingertips as far as that goes. Another example, like maybe struggling with like identifying like trends in customer complaints, like if customers are complaining or service requests are coming in from like call recordings and things of that nature, contact center like can transcribe, analyze calls, like we can help uncover common issues and like training needs that your organization may have. Again, just putting the focus back with that contact center, kind of like how do we improve your overall CSAT. And finally, the security pillar. Big pillar. We're going to start off with a couple of the critical services just to kind of kick us off here. So endpoint protection. So again, just like food for thought, loan officer's laptop compromised via like malware or something, threatening access to sensitive customer data. Again, just questioning, like, is there that solution in place that will automatically quarantine that malware, isolate the threat, isolate the user from the network? What does that look like for your team today? And is there a team that's kind of there to immediately, address the alert and figure out what next steps are? So more than welcome to lean on our team for that. That's an offering called Smart Endpoint Protection. We do have 3 flavors that I like to bring up with this one, just because this EDR space can get a little bit confusing. So we have 3 flavors. The first flavor is base. Simply put, next generation antivirus and EDR, endpoint detection and response. The second flavor, so like we'll think of it as like a level up, is called our Endpoint Protection Pro. So still your next generation antivirus and EDR, but also add in something called deep visibility. This is where we now recommend our customers start if budget allows, just because that deep visibility gives us the option to, like, let's say a threat does get into your environment. We want to know, what is the storyline of that threat? What users is it touching? What endpoints has it touched? How did it get in? Like, what actions was it taking? Just gives us a better story. And we feel like with just today's threat landscape and how quick things can escalate, deep visibility is super important. So this is where we would recommend you start as far as endpoint protection goes. And then there's a third option, which is called our Endpoint Protection Plus. Certain requirements or certain needs you may have, this is where you can start to add in 24/7 points. So we kind of have a base Pro Plus with different capabilities in each flavor. But yeah, starting with that deep visibility, always a good idea just to kind of get that background of those threats and what's going on in your environment. Email security, phishing, at an all-time high, especially with AI. I don't know for you, but AI is just so intriguing to me how sophisticated threats can get now. Again, another example, email impersonation attack takes place, like targeting your CFO. Maybe it's with like fake wire requests. If that email bypasses basic spam filters, like what is your solution doing for you? Smart email security can look at blocking those impersonation attacks, spoofing attacks, advanced phishing attacks, all also using AI-based like threat detection. So again, when a threat's identified, Smart Email Security will prevent the compromised accounts from spamming internal and external users. I cannot tell you how many times where I have success stories where this specifically stepped into place and made a vulnerability or a threat actor doing something, it really remedied the situation and made it a lot less worse than it could have been, simply through this protection. So more examples than I can count, but again, something to just kind of keep top of mind. Moving right along, I think we can all agree that our users are indeed our weakest link. And so let's talk a little bit about security awareness training. Very simple offering again, us sending out, phishing campaigns monthly again for you. We can customize those phishing campaigns. This is one of the first solutions that, again, even outside your industry, any IT team, the first thing to fall off when a team reaches capacity is kind of that security awareness training. I often get the comments, well, I haven't sent a phishing campaign, in 6+ months or over a year ago. And they can only be as strong as how often we send out those phishing campaigns and continuing to train our users. So again, like I said, we're making sure that we're sending those out monthly. And if I'm being completely transparent, oftentimes our customers can offload this to us and pay less than what they were paying today and get it managed and just have something that's completely off your plate. So if you're curious about that and just think, yeah, this is kind of a thorn in my side that I would like to just kind of kick off, let us know. Happy to, again, compare to what you have today and see if it's the right fit or not. Endpoint Zero Trust. It's one of my favorite offerings to talk about. It's completely shifted security conversations. It focuses on 3 elements. I'm going to kind of go through those 3 elements here. So first one, application allow listing or whitelisting. It's really based on the premise of we're going to allow only what you want in your environment, and we're going to deny all else. Going off of that, now we're going into a component called ring fencing, which is kind of the second main component that Endpoint Zero Trust focuses on. We can ring fence those apps to be accessible by the users that only need them. So let's just say Jane in accounting doesn't need access to a certain application that marketing has. We don't need to give Jane that access, which is something super nice. Not to mention with that, this also allows apps to only do what the apps are meant to do. So let's say Word is trying to launch PowerShell, that's going to be a no-go. Smart Endpoint Zero Trust is going to block that. So that's going to prevent that micro attack. Third one, elevation control, gives your IT team visibility. So let's say Jane in accounting does want access to this marketing application. It's a very simple and easy way for her to elevate that to you and ask for permission. And at that point, you can deny or accept it. Because again, at the end of the day, your IT team or your internal team members the best. So we would count on you to make those decisions. But what's great about Smart Endpoint Zero Trust is in any event that you need consultation, if you need help writing a policy around that application, you simply send in a ticket to us, tell us what you need, and we develop that policy. We tell you if that app is legit. We're there with you every step of the way, all covered by that agreement. So consultation and whatnot, all that comes right along with that service. What I really like about Endpoint Zero Trust, it can help give you big steps towards compliance. Because obviously that control piece, but then it also is giving you opportunity to have less admins in your environment. When we can really control and get granular with applications and what users can do this, and maybe they have elevation access for only 2 hours, it really gives you control back and limits those admins in your environment. So speaking on control, I want to talk a little bit more about this because it's a cool security conversation that I like to have sometimes. Let's talk about detection versus control. So a lot of focus on detection in today's day and age, but what about that control piece? So next gen AV products, they're great, but they, again, rely heavily on the detection side, relying on known suspicious behavior or like known bad files. They can't distinguish between like a legitimate application, a piece of malware disguising itself at that application sometimes. So if we can give our environment back some control, like with Smart Endpoint Zero Trust, and saying what's permitted and everything else is going to be denied, gives us, again, more control back. There's a lot of focus on that detection. So even when you look at this pyramid diagram here, you can see like the email security, the EDR, the MDR, the antivirus. It all falls on the left side of that pyramid. More on the control side, you'll see the components that I kind of just talked about with Smart Endpoint Zero Trust here. That's all falling on the right side. And so to very much so put it simply, I like to use a house analogy when I'm talking about this. When we think about detection or the left side of the pyramid, I like to think of it as the alarm system in a house. So let's say it goes off when someone's entered your house. You might have a video of like somebody, stealing your TV or stealing a chair. You know that somebody did steal the TV, but can you track it down? And maybe you can, but will you actually recover the TV? Not likely. With the control piece, think of control like the deadbolt on the door of your house. First off, you're going to decide who's even allowed into your house. Once you do, so allow listing, once you open the door for those you trust, so let's say you were expecting the dishwasher guy at 10 a.m. and he shows up and he's there at 10 a.m. So you unlock the deadbolt and you let him in. Once he's in, you can just let him go as far as he wants to go. So again, that control piece, let's say dishwasher guy, you have to run out for an errand and he's trying to go into your bedroom. He doesn't need to be in the bedroom, so the bedroom's already locked. Or maybe he doesn't need to be, in the back closet. It's already locked. So think of that piece as like the ring fencing piece. So again, block him from the areas that you don't trust him to have access to, or like I mentioned earlier, why is Word trying to launch PowerShell? It's going to be a no-go, and sometimes those apps can be used to execute malicious things in the environment, and this just helps put a lot of prevention around that regarding control. Last offering in the smart security, SOCAS, or Security Operations Center as a Service. So again, just do you have visibility of your full tech stack across your environment? Could threats go unnoticed outside of like business hours? This is just a 24/7 monitoring and alert response. So you can catch early signs of like compromise, proactively patch, things of that nature. Getting a SOC team without the high price tag is something that how I like to think about it. So as we wrap up here, because I want to save some time for questions as well, when we're talking about stack a little bit, we see some pretty critical layers on the screen here. Of course, we need to secure the perimeter. We've got our next gen AV, protecting against phishing, all the email security things, and again, training our weakest link with the users. But again, critical, but we know what today's threat landscape looks like. And so I just, again, want to put these layers at play here kind of in front of us of the other layers that we feel like should be added in. And again, that piece that we absolutely can't forget about, which is that disaster recovery. How are we going to continue business operations in the event that an incident happens? All right, we're wrapping up here, but again, whole goal here. Again, you might be able to use us in some places, you might not. Either way, we're happy to be a partner to you. But again, total goal, empower your team and not replace it. Customize packages, so just simply plug us in where you need us. Everywhere you don't. And hopefully our goal is to kind of help you focus more and worry less. Just take some of that weight off your shoulders, give you peace of mind, help you sleep better at night, you name it. Frequently asked questions before we get into questions here. So couple offerings where I mentioned SOC monitoring. What are the differences? So SOCAS was the entire tech stack monitoring versus endpoint specifically was on the endpoint protection side. So of course there is some overlap, but again, two different offerings focusing on two different things. And again, see it as double the eyes on glass. So I just, again, if you want to screenshot this, you are more than welcome to, but just a good, better, best approach I've kind of put. As we mentioned before, good. We recommend that you start at that middle flavor of endpoint protection just so that you have that deep visibility. Where we can get even better is take that deep visibility EDR solution and pair it with SOCAS or MDR, and then best, we're getting into that plus. So we're having the 24/7 SOC on the endpoint side plus the 24/7 SOC on the MDR side as well. Another popular question, do I get to keep visibility both into my technology, any open tickets? Absolutely. Again, one of the main ways that we differentiate ourselves from a traditional MSP is that you absolutely do not get keys taken away. You have full visibility into what we're doing. You can pull reports, for example, to see what we may be quarantined for threats in the last 30 days or policy changes we've made. You get visibility. We're very transparent. You can see everything that we're doing. And again, at the end of the day, we can consult, but at the end of the day, we're gonna trust you and lead and follow your guidance so that we know what's best based on your organization. Because you know your company best. So also a ticket portal that you can log into, so you can see like all ticket history and the history of those tickets and just information of maybe how we solved something in the past. If you wanted to reference that, or maybe you're looking back on previous tickets, we do have a ticket portal that you can access for all that information. And then again, with just the pressure of the compliance requirements that you guys see in your space, I'd like to just state this, that we will never claim that we are compliance auditors or legal experts. And of course, no one solution can, fit all, but we will help come alongside your team. That's what we love to do best. We'll come alongside your team and help you take steps towards those compliances, and make sure that we're solving the needs where you are seeing them needing to be solved.